On you, Sheriff Travis.
Thank you. It's good to see you again.
How are you?
No, go right ahead.
Hey, the front, they might take it down.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Aubrey Brown with the CSX Railroad's Industrial Development Department. I've been knowing Alan Cherry for a long time, and our primary job is to help. I cover North Florida from about Orlando, the rest of the state of Florida, and what we do is we try to bring industrial development to these counties in Florida, with the railroad participating in that, and trying to bring industry and manufacturing back to Florida. So this site that Mr. Greene, he contacted me about a year and a half ago. We came to look at it. This is one of the very few spurs. This one and the old meat packaging plant that we've got here in Madison. We don't have another piece of railroad spur between here and Jacksonville, but the next place where there's rail service will be Baldwin, Florida. So we think this place is very important for us to get some kind of prospects in. We've been advertising this site and the other site to try to bring the prospects in. We're very, very excited about the fact that there's a new governor here. We've got a new head of economic development. We think it's a new day for Florida. We are hearing from investors that they maybe will relook at Florida. 90% of the investors that came to the railroad, remember that we've got 21,000 miles on the CSX Railroad, 23 states, so we're a large railroad. They come to us when it's a rail serve project. Every time we want to bring them to Florida, the story is, well, we're not really interested in going to Florida because the perception is that Florida's closed for business and not business friendly. And it's been the way with the permitting and other things that we've had to go through. So we're excited about the fact that at least it's going to be easier. Maybe they'll look at Florida. We, the railroad, believe that this area, North Florida, is well positioned for a manufacturing type of industry because we've got a good reach back into the rest of the country from here. You can't put a manufacturing plant south of Orlando. It's too far to get it back out. But here we can do something like that. So the story from the CSX Railroad is we want to help you. We want to be your partner. We'll do anything we can to help you get the business. The proviso is we're going to make money with what we do. We're a for-profit company. Unfortunately, we're only as good as the last 3 months and what Wall Street reports. I mean, that's the way we operate. But we're excited. We like the dedication of your guys over here, like private owners like Mr. Greene, your development authority, and Alan Cherry. I mean, that's just great to have folks like that are willing to get something done, and it's a big departure from the situation in the past. We believe, too, that the growth for Florida will come in this area, North Florida. It's not going to be Orlando South. I mean, we all realize that. I think the time is right for Florida. It's Florida's time to get something. I can tell you, I can't give you guys the specifics, but the state of Florida have identified 4 what they call catalyst sites, which are sites which will get accelerated development. One of those sites is in Swanee County, Florida. And what that means is that if we get a prospect that's going there, the state will put up the resources to get the utilities and the water. And we're keeping our fingers crossed that we're going to land a big deal. 485 jobs at $200 million. And I personally got those people out of North Carolina and South Carolina to come and look at Florida. It's not quite in Madison, but it'll have a good spin-off effect. If these people come, the additional offering will be 485 jobs immediately, and there'll be another 2,000 jobs in the next 4 years, because there will be more industries coming. But that's the sort of impetus that we need. And if we can get that customer, and what we need to do here is, you see this track that's in here, this is the only spur that we've got. We need to do some work to get it upgraded, but if we get the right prospect, it's a lot cheaper to rebuild or upgrade existing track than it is to build a new one. And if you've got a spur, you want to hold on to it because they're as scarce as chickens. And we do not want to give them up. I've had requests by my engineering department to take up these switches, and I said, ain't no way we do it. Because once it's gone, it's about $200,000 to put another switch on the main line. You don't want to do that. The federal government have got regulations on the railroad that we have to upgrade every single road crossing on the CSX Railroad by 2015 to stop trains running into one another. The cost for CSX is $2 billion and above. So it adds another $50,000 to $100,000 for every new switch we put in. And the reason they did that was because a conductor in California 4 years ago was talking on his cell phone, run into the back of a train and killed 25 people. Instead of addressing, you know, the attitude or the behavior, what they do is blanket authority, non-funded, that everybody's got to comply. So it's kind of hard. We're doing what we can. So we want to keep the switches that we've got. So we will continue to work. We will continue to work hard to, you know, to show this site and to bring these prospects out here. The other thing is with the proximity to Jacksonville where you are, and the port of Jacksonville, the new Mitsui terminal that you've got over there, this whole area is going to be very, very good for some kind of, even if it's an inland port or a place where we can do some kind of manufacturing. Because in Jacksonville, it's all about distribution facilities, etc. They don't really want no manufacturing, which we can do right here. I guess the message from the CSX Railroad's Industrial Development Department is we want to be a partner. We want to lead the charge. We'll do anything we can to help you advertise the sites. We want to bring the business to Florida, because bringing the business is going to be jobs and investment. Jobs and investment. That's what we need. And that's where we are.
Question: how can we get Madison County in this loop the same as Swanee County?
You see, that I don't know. See, Alan, you all need to find out from your development authority. I don't know.
That catalyst site was selected by, we submitted.
Bridget Merrill's
right,
name.
we submitted properties from Madison County,
yeah,
and they were not selected as the catalyst sites.
Yeah, I don't
now,
know.
when those catalyst sites when they find a business on those sites in Columbia and Swanee County, then I think we're like third or fourth on the list.
Well, you know the site in Columbia County, we can't get an easement from the United States Department of Forestry. I mean, they got a catalyst site, and there's no easement to get to the site. So how they chose the site, I don't know. Now, the Swanee County site is a good one, but Tommy, that's a question that I don't understand how the criteria works out. But what happens there is that it will be accelerated development of utilities and water and sewer to the plant, to the site.
Right. And that was selected before I came on board. So I don't know exactly
that site was selected.
Yes, sir.
Several years ago, 10 or 12 years ago.
Yeah, see, but the thing is for us as well now, the deal is that if we can land this kind of project on that site, it means that the catalyst site project, initiative is going to work. And we think it's something that we can continue to replicate. We don't need no catalyst site in Madison County with the CSX. I mean, I'm telling you, I mean, if we get the right prospect and we can come in here, it all depends on the incentives that the state's prepared to offer. Because what happens is, when I get a prospect coming in and we're looking in North Florida, you know, there's a number of sites you got to show them. I have to because I cover South Georgia too. But here's the main difference. We come into Florida and then it'll take 6 months to change the zoning. And in Georgia, they'll change the zoning in 30 days. And I mean, they get the money from the state of Georgia. The governor will call the company directly and say, "We want you in Georgia. What can we do to help you?"
You're going to see.
Well, that's what we
under the new economic development law
yes,
that went into effect in July.
Yes,
you're going to see a great difference.
Absolutely, we can see it already.
We put a bunch of amendments on that thing that, first of all, has rural development involved with it,
yes, sir,
and secondly, it's more user friendly. We'll be able to move from request to writing a check.
Yeah.
In what was it, 14 days.
That's gonna make.
That's gonna make a big difference. They're gonna narrow that decision to fewer decision makers.
No, I apologize. I should have done this in the beginning. Of course, everybody knows Mr. Brown with CSX. Would y'all just go around and tell us who you are and who you represent right quickly, please?
I represent District 10, Florida House Representatives.
Travis Hart, Senator Charlie Dean's office.
Bobby Pickles, Progress Energy.
Vicki Salter with Representative Bembry's office.
Gene Rutherford, developer. Alan Cherry, Madison County Development Council.
Cindy Dees, Madison County Chamber of Commerce. And I'm Cheryl Rayberg with the Regional Workforce Board.
I'm Mike Preston with Enterprise Florida, and I'm also here for the Governor's office today as well.
Tommy Greene. This is Jacob Bembry with Greene Brothers.
We're really excited and enthused because what happens is for CSX Railroad, I mean, we get the prospects first. And there's nothing more frustrating when you got the prospect, you know you got a site, and then you try to enthuse the people and bring them out, and they can't move forward. And hey, it doesn't matter if we've got to have issues, it's the perception. How do we greet these people? Can't really help you. Or what attitude have you got? Oh, hey, welcome to Florida, man. We can see what we can do. We can sort out that stuff between us behind the scene. But if we, you know, we appreciate what you've done. The fact that they put $800 million into the development fund, the economic development, we've never had that before. Yeah. And I think you're going to see it. There's a serious challenge coming to Georgia. We've got good workforce. Now, the other challenges in a place like Greenville and that, I'll be honest with you, it might be tough for us to find the right kind of workforce. We might have to partner with the workforce in Florida or whatever. If there's a special need that we got to train, you know, that's something we just have to bear in mind. But if it's a big manufacturing type of industry that's anything to do with timber, the timber industry, Europe has moved away from nuclear. So anything to do with timber and lumber and wood pellets and that sort of thing is big, and that's what we're very strong. Yeah, we've got weather, good weather all year round. I've got companies calling me that cannot paint out in the snow in Pennsylvania that want to come down to Florida. That's the kind of message we've got to give them. I know the governor's been calling a lot of companies to say, come to Florida, come on down.
Well, and as these cattle sites work,
yes, sir.
I think they'll be expanded. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, well, you see, what we did was, let me just give you a quick scenario. What we did in Suwannee County, I've been working with Dennis Kaysen and other people over there. You know Dennis. And when that catalyst site was put up, I said, Dennis, what we need to do is we need to do a concept layout of rails. Just an idea. It doesn't mean that that's what the final picture is going to look like, but let's do a concept and do a vision book of what that site looks like. And we marketed that thing. And as the prospects came in, we showed them the site. We said this site is good in Suwannee County. And when I found out about this project, it's called Project Christmas. When we found out that Project Christmas had had trouble in Georgia, and that was unusual to us, and they were looking in North Carolina and South Carolina, and said, well, we haven't looked at Florida. And we took them to both sites. We took them to Lake City, and we took them to Live Oak. And Lake City immediately fell out of contention because of the issue with the easement. I mean, they're working on it. And Columbia County doesn't even have a development director. The guy, Jim Poole, left about 2 weeks ago, so we've got a county commissioner that's standing in, Rusty. But we're helping him, and that was eliminated, so they need to address that before we can look at that site. But in the next site for Florida was the Suwannee County Catalyst site. And they've liked what they've seen. They've done a lot of good work on it, and we're expecting an announcement any day now. And I've told Enterprise Florida, if that does go, we need to really get as much advertising on it as we can, not only in Florida, but nationally. In some of these trade magazines about, you know, development, economic development, so we can send a message out that, hey, look, yeah, Florida's here, we're open for business, we're good for manufacturing, we want to see you down there. And we will do anything we can. The railroad, depending on the opportunity, I mean, let me just say this, we will participate financially too. We will, depending on how the deal is for us, it depends on our level of involvement, but we'll try to help with the incentive program if we can, which is a big departure from the railroad. They never used to look at it that way. But we really believe that partnership with you to help you get to businesses, it's good for our future, it's good for you.
Availability of wood, good, you know, supply of wood products in this area is great.
Absolutely.
And the economic environment is set right now internationally.
Absolutely. Well,
There should be a lot of opportunity.
We can ship them in by rail too. If they can't find the lumber within 100 miles, I mean, that's about the radius you could truck. The railroad will bring it in from 300 or 400 miles as well in trains like we used to in the old days. We can build a unit train. On this particular site that you've got here, I mean, we're looking at one track coming in here now, but there's many ways to skin the cat. I mean, if we get the right customer that comes in, we can redesign the rail, we can put in different track structures. It just depends what kind of operation we're looking to get, you know. Hopefully it's one that's attached to a lot of jobs. We'll just have to see. But we will continue to market the sites aggressively so that people know about it. The only thing we can do is try to make it known. You can't have this thing hidden. You've got to make it, put it out there so that people know about it. And that's what we try to do by advertising it on the CSX website and getting it out in front of people. And then, you know, I don't know what sort of incentives you can get from the state, but I can tell you that it's going to look a lot better than it did in the past.
Well, one advantage that this particular location has got that no other place on the planet's got, we're sitting right here with an 8-inch water main between two water tanks, city water tanks, with the substation for the gas pipeline is right across the highway from us. Bobby Pickles may tell us a little bit about the proposed substation that Progress Energy's got right across the railroad right there. We got the wastewater treatment plant right here. We got two power companies right here, in which Bobby's Progressive Energy would be the one that would probably be chosen. We've just got easy access to I-10. You can hit right down here and go west on I-10, or straight down and go east. Easy access to I-75. Plus we're in Florida. So, you want to tell us a little advantages about that?
Well, as far as incentives go, like Representative Bembry was mentioning earlier, we have a lot more disposal at our hands now with the new legislation that was passed and new leadership and the government being committed to economic development and bringing Grace Swope in, who's respected not only around the country but around the world for economic development. We now have more of a flexible pot of spending incentives that we can use to whatever industry, whatever manufacturing might be able to benefit from. And like you were saying, it is in an enterprise zone, so therefore you're a cut above the rest. Amongst other states, you're eligible for a lot more incentives, additional things that will go into it. So whatever happens, we're here ready to work with you guys, and we look forward to our partnership, our continued partnership with CSX. Hopefully to bring another project like the one we've talked about in Swanee County, something like that, of that caliber here would be fantastic.
I mean, we have a lot of capability, with our community college here, training, whatever that, whatever people would require as far as training, workforce.
Might don't want to get too technical in this group today, but maybe more for Aubrey. We can support 2 4 megawatt loads without much additional work. We get above 4 megawatts, then we're going to start looking at adding infrastructure and that sort of thing to be able to serve it. And you got surplus capacity from the unutilized demand, historic demand over because of the plant. And so we're pretty well good to go, depending on motor characteristics and things like that. So we could go today. If you're looking at a 2 to 4 megawatt load.
We see something as well, just to mention, Joel, as the fuel prices started to crawl back up again, you can see when diesel gets to $5 a gallon, immediately it triggers interest in the railroad. And I mean, I love the railroad. Railroad is my life, but I'll tell you that the railroad doesn't always come on time, unfortunately. I mean, it's just the nature of the way that bulk network railroading works. But if you're shipping a product that is non-perishable like timber or building supplies or something like that, that little misery factor you can put up with. We're doing everything we can to become better, to have a better service product, and it is improving. But when you're looking at a penny on every ton that you're shipping, and the fuel price becomes it, then the railroad becomes more important. Then a site like this suddenly becomes really attractive. And whether we use this site as a transload site for folks that don't have a rail spur, that want to just bring product into Madison, that's a good idea, and you can bring in more than one type of product. You've got a good pad here, you're just going to upgrade some of this rail, and you can do that. Or we get one anchor tenant that's going to bring jobs and investment in one type of thing. It really doesn't matter. But that's a direct result of the economy. And we think the railroad is resurgent. Remember now, you can put 4 times the amount in a railroad car that you can in a truck, and it's the same price to ship it. So if it's coming from Canada, you really cannot beat that. The efficiency of moving it. And logistics costs are a big percentage of anybody that's moving product. And the other thing that's an advantage is we're in North Florida. What did they say? It's about 60 to 65% of the trucks that are leaving Florida are empty. So they're trying to just get the fuel to get back out of here. So anything we put up here, we get an advantageous rate moving back to Atlanta, or whatever it is to the north. So that's something not to be discounted either. Just if we mention that. But everything I think is lined up. It's just finding the right prospect and really getting the message out that things in Florida have changed. I think the message is slowly changing, but we need a couple of successes to really show them that what we're saying is real. And we're working hard to try to get that done. I think if we do that, it'll be a big difference. I think your senator was talking down in Perry and basically got up and told us that agriculture is #2 in Florida and tourism is not where it used to be. So it's important for us to diversify Florida's economy some, because with that oil spill, the lack of tourists that came to us really hurt us bad. So we need a mixed bag, and my point is always, where do your kids go to work? Do they have to leave to go work in Georgia or Alabama? Let's keep it in Florida. And not every person's going to go to college. I mean, there's a lot of vocational training could be done. Welders, sheet metal workers, and people that can do manufacturing jobs. They pay a lot better than Walmart. That's what we need to be looking at. And I think we're very competitive. I mean, it's perfect. I mean, there's no difference between here and South Georgia. And we've got better infrastructure.
And as long as we stay deficit from a manufacturing standpoint, it'll be a big plus to ship things out of here. So we manufacture it here.
And we got no state tax. That's right. But it's a big deal. It's a big plus for us. Huge. But you know, Georgia's been giving away the land and giving them tax abatements and things we haven't been able to compete with at all. So, you know, and they've got the same situation on workforce. We've got better workforce than they do. But I guess we're all poised. We just have to get a few successes. I mean, we're ready.
The senator and I were having a redistricting meeting over in Jacksonville last week, and they took us on a tour on the break of the Jacksonville port.
Yes.
And you know, can't really compete with Savannah yet because their port is deeper, but Congressman Crenshaw has been working on it, and we're working on it to try to get that deepened, and that's going to spur even more, and
our business,
make this even more important.
Our business is up about 100% in that port, and the track, we spent millions of dollars to upgrade the track this year. The other thing that CSX is doing, you all know now that Sunrail is going to happen in Orlando. CSX is selling, there's two main CSX lines that go into Florida, the Atlantic Coastline Railroad, the old coastline. That 62 miles from DeLand to Kissimmee will become commuter rail, and we can only run freight trains about 6 hours a day, from midnight to 6 in the morning. The S line, the other line that comes out of Baldwin, when you run down 301, that's a CSX Railroad track that goes through Stark and Lawtee, Stark and Ocala, and goes on down to Sumter County. That's going to become the new interstate highway for CSX. We're going to rebuild that old track with 10,500 foot passing sidings all the way down so we can run traffic that way. That means the business is improving as well, you know, on that side. So there's going to be jobs created. We're going to have a very good line going down into Florida. And we also, there was an article in the newspaper, this is way above my pay grade, but CSX made an announcement that we're going to spend about $40 million in Jacksonville to upgrade the rail infrastructure to Jacksport and on that gross connector that goes up there through Nassau County. That all will help us, because then it'll give us access to the Nassau port, it'll give you access to the Jacksonville port. The limitation we've got right now is we don't have very many bulk export spots in Jacksonville for bulk traffic coming in and out. We've got a few, but not a whole lot. But hopefully that's something we can work on, and as you said, we've got to get a little deeper in the port, otherwise we'll be non-competitive with these big ships that are coming in. Savannah's got that problem now with South Carolina suing them not to go deeper. And the only port on the East Coast that's 50 feet is Norfolk, Virginia, and you know why? Aircraft carriers. So they're the only ones who can capitalize on it, but if we're serious about getting the business, we need to do something. But you all, I mean, you're in a great position, really, that you've got the Port of Jacksonville that now has access to Europe and Asia that 2 years ago we didn't have. But that's a big deal. It really is, because you can get the stuff to the port and get it back easily. And as you were talking about as well, this wood pellet business, this wood product stuff going to Europe is only going to get bigger. It's not getting any smaller. We heard this week that another major player, I mean really big, is definitely for sure gonna put a plant up, and it's somewhere in the Panhandle. I mean, I don't know where, we don't know where yet, but it's another good one for Florida. So we'll just keep trying to get all that we can.
It's that in Greenville.
Well, it's not there, and it's not those guys, it's somebody new. But that's, you know, and again, I mean, you know, timber is what we've got plenty of it, so we'll capitalize on that. And hopefully we'll get some other industries that will come around that too. But it's interesting, and we just look forward to collaborating with you. Our approach is, if you need help from CSX, you call me. You've got a cell phone number there, anything you need. If I can't answer the phone, it means I'm in a no cell phone zone, or I'm in a meeting, but I will call you back the same day and try to help you best I can.
Well, I'm sure I speak for our total legislative delegation. We'll know anything that we can do to foster or generate more opportunity for this part of Florida. We stand really willing and able to do so. And I feel like right now there's an opportunity. There's opportunity out there. There's a lot of opportunity.
We do believe it. Well, we appreciate it, because at the end of the day, we're all working towards the same thing, to make Florida better. More jobs, more investment, and to make this a great place to live. I mean, that's it. You can't argue with that. That's all I got to say. We open for business.
Can you tell us anything about
Well,
your position?
speaking about workforce, I've heard a couple of you refer to training and jobs. And my first question to a company looking at our area is, tell me what you need. And I'll see where I can connect you and where I can actually hold your hand until you get that workforce in place.
Doesn't the college works with us on setting up classes and stuff?
Within our region, 6-county region, we have 3 major training providers. That's North Florida Community College here in Madison, and Taylor Technical Institute in Cary, and Swanee Hamilton Technical Center in Live Oak. Other than that, we work with employers to provide whatever training they need, and they can choose their training provider. We do encourage use of our local training providers first, and if it's something that they can crank up fast, we certainly will do it. I can call those training directors at those schools now, and they would drop what they're doing and come and sit down and say, tell me what you need, and let's see if we can make it happen, and make it happen quickly.
Well, we were very disappointed a few years ago when we lost the Taylor Energy Power Plant. I mean, that was about 2,000 jobs, and we worked very hard to get that done, and it was a big loss for us. We were disappointed. The other thing that I must mention to you, which is an advantage, is the fact that there is a short line railroad that connects to CSX at Greenville. It comes out of Quitman to Greenville to Perry, and the Florida-Georgia Railroad, which is a plus. The advantage of that is it's a lot cheaper to build railroad tracks off of that railroad than on our main line. If you're building a spur on CSX, you need a pretty substantive customer and a lot of money, and it's because of the union rules and things that we've got. So that's an advantage to us. It's not a disadvantage. The fact that in the area we've got another short line railroad. And as you all know, we've had projects where we've looked at connecting those mines down there to the railroad by building some track. And that didn't come to fruition, but we did try to do that. But what I'm saying is it gives us a few more options as well. Not only have you got a great, this line that you've got running through here is like an interstate highway system. It's like I-10, but it's just one lane. You've got trains that are coming and going. And I guess if you all live near the tracks, you would have heard some activity pick up in the last 6 months. We've got more through trains that are coming from New Orleans back over this way. Those are the big UP, the 6 engines and a very long train. The interchange traffic that comes from the west, from California, comes through New Orleans. It comes through New Orleans, Memphis, Tennessee, East St. Louis, and Chicago. But in the south, the only place is New Orleans. So guess what? We're on that main connection with the KCS Railroad, the BNSF, and the UP for product that are moving over that way. We're also shipping intermodal trains, the container trains from Jacksport out that way, and they're coming this way too. So the traffic's picked up. This is a very important line. And between Jacksonville and Tallahassee, you've got 10 passing sidings where one train can pull in and the other one can go by. From Tallahassee to Pensacola, there's only 3. And that part of the railroad is dark territory. There's no signal, so the dispatchers don't know where the trains are at. It makes it kind of tough, but we kind of got it down. We know how to do it, but so we've got a bigger advantage here because this whole railroad is signalized. And you know, as we bring on new business, we'll increase the crews and the train starts that we've got coming out of here. So I mean, those are all things that are a plus for you, because there's other counties in Florida that don't have any short lines that go down to them, and having that short line, you know, sometimes for that customer that's got 1 car a month or 2 cars a month, he's looking for just a little place with a spur that he can do some unloading. We can do it on the short line easily, and that goes all the way down to Perry. So I mean, other than talking, just got to get something in here now.
And you've got about 19 trains a day coming through here.
It's not that high. It's about it used to be, but the economy is not really where it is either. But truth be told, I mean, a lot of this stuff was based on where the economy is at, and we haven't seen a full recovery. We're not going back, but you know, we're going up real slow, and you know, but it's about right now. You've got about 9 to 10 trains a day. That's it. That's all you got going on. But we're ready to put some more on if we have to.
Got anything you need to?
The Chamber is just here to play a supporting role with economic development and whatever we can
Well, what we do is we partner with you when there's a rail project, and we realize that not every project is going to be rail served. We understand that. But insofar as it's railroad and CSX, and we bring a prospect, we want to be your partner at that table with you to talk about how the railroad's going to take place. My job is to make it easy. I said, how you doing? Welcome to the railroad. We're going to make it happen. This is the procedure. All this red tape and all that, we'll worry about that. We just want to say that we're here to help you. We think it can work. This is how it's going to happen. Let's get it done. And then we'll partner with you guys. Every time we get a prospect, talk about the rail side to help you as we can.
We'll do whatever we can.
If it's a good customer that's going to give us pretty good, you know, amount of cars, we'll, and they've got to, I mean, here you've got an existing spur, but let's just say we've got to build another spur on a piece of property somewhere on 200 acres. We'll try to refund the cost of that turnout over 3 or 4 years so that they recoup the cost that they spent to build that switch on our right-of-way. There's the things we can do to help you. If it's a big deal and it's really good for the railroad, we can even do more. We think we can participate financially. I can't make that promise, but it all depends on the finances. Because if the return on the investment beats the hurdle, you know, because we're not stupid. If we've got to spend $10 to make 100, I think we'll do it. So I guess it's a good news story. I mean, we're enthused. I mean, you got my card. If I can help you in any way, and there's not a damn piece of track here that I don't know, that I've traveled. I'm trying to learn Southern, but I'm eating grits. I'm not trying to get there, but but if you need help, man, I'll tell you, we're standing by. Anything you need.
I can verify that, because he's been right here the whole time. Anybody got any questions about anything that these other experts know about?
Aubrey, just, you know, I think you and Tommy both know this from the county aspect. You know, we have tax abatement available, and we have given it recently, you know, to the folks that just came over in the meat plant. We have 100% for 10 years.
What I want you to do, Alan, what I'd like is, I mean, in addition to Tommy's property, what I need, and I spoke a little bit there, we need to find out those private landowners that have got properties on the railroad right away that maybe they don't want to sell today, but there's 200 or 300 acres with good frontage that's pretty flat that we know is okay, and some of them are zoned correctly. Let's find out where that is, because I mean, if I don't know where they are, I can't push them. But that's what we need to do, an inventory of what we've got, so that I'd like to really do that. I mean, then we can have a good inventory of what you got.
The best thing about this side is Tommy said there's water, gas, and sewer.
Sure, yeah.
Everything's already there on the right of way, ready to go. And there is capacity. There's about 1 million to 1.5 million gallons a day in sewer, about that much in water available. And that's huge. A lot of people have infrastructure, but they don't have capacity.
That's right.
And the other thing is in the unincorporated area, I guarantee you we will get you permitted in 30 days or less.
Hey, I just like sound like candy for a child.
More than that.
Well, I understand. I mean, but I mean, we know that. We understand.
And we have a commitment out of the governor's office, and I feel certain he'll do it.
I mean, I just want to tell you, for 5 years, it's been like treading through molasses. I mean, it's like I feel like I've got an orange jumpsuit on and shackles. The CSX Railroad's got 2,500 miles of railroad track in the state of Florida, and we cannot capitalize on it because of permits and restrictions and problems. It's like having an asset that you cannot use. Understand the frustration level, it ain't really good. This is the only state in our entire network where we've got no competition. It's only CSX. I mean, you've got the FEC that goes down to Miami. That's a little small short line railroad. The Norfolk Southern, those guys with that little pony, they come in there to Lake City, a little bit into Live Oak, and I need to tell you all a funny story. Man, I just started on the job and I get out there to Lake City. Guys called me and said, come and look at this track. I was new, I get in the weeds and I'm out there, Norfolk Southern. I said, hey, it's the wrong railroad, Norfolk Southern. Oh hell, we're sorry, man, we'll carry you to the hog trough for lunch. So I said, okay, and they said, you eat liver and onions? I said, you got some fried chicken maybe? I'll have to ease up on it, but I'll never forget that. So that's how I knew they go in there, but we've got much more access to it. And that's just being truthful with you. And you can't be, you know, you get beaten so many times. When you come up with something and you keep hearing no and hell no, we don't want to deal with you, you start getting you're not going to come the next time. And so you lose your enthusiasm to bring that next prospect because you know you're going to face the same. But I can tell you, it's a new day because even before there's a project, today the cooperation between the DEP, the DOT, the Governor's Office, OTED, and Enterprise Florida, I have never seen it like that before. There's like and it's what you guys.
DOT's been marching for a couple of years, and they're getting there.
You guys have done a great job, and we thank you because what you've done is you've made your state more competitive for guys like us who are trying to bring the business in. So that's it. Man. I mean, that's all it is. I mean, and there's no other concern. I mean, you can say whatever you might be pretty to see a pretty building. It's about jobs and investment and the quality of life. Because if you drive on these, when you come out of Baldwin, if you're over there, when you start coming through McClenny and Baker County, and I drive this road every day, I mean, there's people that are not doing well because they don't have the opportunity to get a job, and working at Walmart is not going to, I mean, you can make a subsistence living, but you can't do any better. So that's what it's about. Well, we look forward to helping you. Tommy, thank you for putting this thing together. We appreciate it.
Is there anything else that anybody...
One thing I would mention to you is, y'all get a prospect, get them to us early.
Yeah.
I know that Alan would tell you the same thing.
Yeah, please. That's it. Early.
And the other thing is when we get them here, we need to put everybody around the table that's going to touch them. so they know every contact that they need, and that's invaluable.
I agree.
And we do that from day one.
Sometimes folks are so successful with the secrecy of their negotiations that they neglect to bring us in.
You need to bring everybody to the table that's going to have a part in it.
Now, Progress Energy's already got your super line, your poles and stuff, those great big poles from here to your power plant, hadn't you?
They're not great big poles, they're appropriately sized poles, Mr. Greene.
Whoa, that sounds like a politically correct statement, Tommy. What do you think?
I'll have to get that one analyzed.
I spoke to our engineering staff.
Like this?
I spoke to our engineering staff before coming to the meeting, and they assured me we won't serve the load, so you let us know what it is.
I'll tell you what, I was born in Madison County by chance.
Okay.
Stayed by choice and stayed so long we got too poor to leave. But I don't know what kind of poles now we got down there.
Appropriately sized. Okay.
Okay.
Anybody got any questions, ask the other expert.
That'll be awesome. We would love to do it.
I'm good.
I'll tell you one thing, it sounds like a relief on the development side because we do federal government buildings, some state, mostly federal. Just got out of Lakeland, Melbourne, horror story in Port St. Lucie, 24 months to get a local building permit. 24 months, 17 months in Lakeland, 8 months in Lake City. It is just absolutely, and now we're bringing Ocala out of the ground. They wanted us there 3 months. So it's just horror stories. Gene, when the contractor came over for the Smithfield plant renovation, he said, how long before I can go see the building official in the city? I said, come on, we'll go see him now. Walked in the door, sat down with Chuck. He was there in his office. He said, I'm not accustomed to this. I said, where I deal with, it takes weeks just to get an appointment. Well, like Madison has, the city of Madison has the gas department, sewer department, the water department. Port St. Lucie has 34 departments, even a mosquito and a furniture placement. You got to get a furniture permit down there before you can get a CO. And then you have to, then they have a shot at you. Each department has a shot at you for 3 weeks at a time with 3 submittals. So that's 9 weeks per department times 34. I mean, it's just, then you walk into the building inspector's office, 2 secretaries, all the help, the building inspector, everybody's doing nothing, job scared. Why can't I get my permit? Government red tape. Just can't get it. It's ridiculous. But y'all talk like it's going to get better.
Well, it ain't going to be like that with us. We want to make money. And whatever quicker we can do it, the better. So we will make sure we meet the requirements, but we're going to make it an ease of access. The days, and I'll tell you, I've had a lot, and I'll just tell you, since I've been on this job, I mean, where I go, people say, hey man, you talk a real good show. Let me tell you about that railroad. So the railroad's had a bad rep in the past, they really have. But I promise you, if you need some help on the railroad, you call my cell phone. We're going to find the answer. If we can't find it, we'll elevate it, but you will get an answer. I'll help you. If you need a permit, if you need a boring, you need a road crossing, whatever you need, call me. We'll get it done.
The only little boost that I ever have is finding a commissioner and saying, man, I sure would like to start paying property taxes down here. And then maybe you might get a little hit, but that's the only way.
I think the governor's office is very positive. And you know, and I feel certain that this process is going to move together.
Please.
Of course,
Obviously,
these counties, he still doesn't set the policy for counties.
Well, I mean, the thing is, we are a consumptive state. If you think about the state of Florida, we've got the same people in the state of Florida that they've got in the country of Australia. The whole country is one state. And it's been a consumptive state. So anything, if you got to eat food or whatever, we do well with that, but we haven't done well on the other stuff. And it's our time now if we want to be competitive, because we know now tourism is not where it was. If anything happens to that damn tourism dollars, we'll be in deep trouble. So let's diversify the Florida economy. You know, let's grow agriculture and let's bring more business in here. So we'll do it. That's it.
No, I appreciate you. Is everybody giving the trail a business card?